All right, let's call meeting's order at 9:02 a.m. First thing on the agenda was public comments. There is no public today, so there will be no public comment. We want to do the approval of the meeting minutes first. Let's get that over with real quick. Anybody want to make a motion? All right. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimously. And the other agenda item is the budget.
There was sent to us the amount that the town sent us, and I'm like, I don't find that email was sent from Jeanette.
Yeah, it was, she only sent it to, I think, the two of us, Richard and I.
And then you sent it to us. Is that where it was from? I have it somewhere, but I
I
can't.
sent you a text with it.
Oh, a text maybe. Okay.
The text with the image of the email was sent.
Okay.
This is what I resorted to.
I did the same when I put this sheet together.
Okay. There we go.
That was reasonably authoritative.
Did you want a physical copy of this?
Yeah, please. Thanks. I just take a look at that.
The printer did some work. Playing with that.
Okay.
I thought it was a fancy stylized version. It's like mine is only one color.
That's how I wanted it to look. Printer issues. Like I did the same thing with this.
Oh, look at how fancy schmancy it looks.
All All right. Any immediate concerns, questions, or things people want to go over with this?
Yeah, I'm curious about how you got the dollar amount difference. Did you have like the rates of what
It's
everything is
just
currently?
This number that we have in the budget subtracted by this number is that amount.
Could you say that again? Because I wasn't watching you.
The 2025, 26 number minus this number
Okay.
is that number.
Perfect
So that gives
sense.
us the difference
Mhm.
from budget to budget.
And the 24-25 represents what
That's
we were
what-
actually budgeting for last year.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay,
budget
that's
for
fine.
the fiscal year
This
we're currently in.
fiscal year, which we can't know
Happy you
We don't know the actuals
print
for
out.
that.
actuals yet, because
Printer,
we're only halfway through.
Can you give a set to
Do we
Robert?
want to kind of go through it?
I don't know what it's,
Oh.
that it's comprised
That's,
of.
well,
So, I'm
like I
sorry,
said,
I didn't
does anybody have
email
any
that
questions or
back to
things
you
like that
yesterday.
stuff highlighted? I'm assuming that's
Yeah,
what you want to
but
talk
I'm
about.
just assuming we'll go as we go along, like, should we?
We can go item by item if that's what people want to do.
Maybe just go through
Does that
each
make sense?
item, and some will be fast and some
Oh,
will
yeah.
have a
Yeah.
couple questions.
That was. All right, so the first line item on the sheet that I made this morning were salaries.
Not much we can do about that.
I think we're gonna, we want to stick with the 3%, right?
Yes.
3% of our land.
All right.
Wow.
No less than 12.
Oh,
I guess the only thing with salaries is making sure, do we actually need the staffing that we have for the amount of people coming in to use the library? Do we still feel like that's a good,
Absolutely.
appropriate staffing?
Yeah.
And we
And
should
it's-
ask
and
that
it's
every
enough.
year.
Yeah, it's enough. I don't think it's too much. There are times when, yes, like there's two of us here and no patrons, but there's also times when there's three of us here and there's 20 children. And all three of us want to cry. So it does end up working out, I think, overall.
And I just think that's a question every year.
Yeah.
Every year, look at it.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
Because
would.
that is probably one of our biggest expenses is
Yeah.
really the staff and the benefits that come with
Yeah.
the staffing.
I wouldn't cut
So-
back at all. If anything, I think, in the next few years, we look at, expanding the children's librarian hours. Right now, that's not something she's interested in doing. But in a couple of years, if we're still seeing the success that we have, I don't see why.
How many hours does she work now?
She works on average, I'd say between 20 and 25
Okay.
a week.
Is that something that we would look at balancing out with a different position?
It depends
Yeah.
on what is going
Yeah.
on in the library at the time.
Yeah. Well, we hope it just grows.
I know,
Yeah.
yes, that's
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to get better and better every year.
Based on the activities that she's pulling together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm
So it
expecting
seems
some
like
pretty
it.
good growth on that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
All right, next item on
retired.
5111, retirement.
Those all mate right up to the,
Yes.
to the salary numbers
Yes.
Yep, so that's why I went up by about 3% as well.
and payment payroll that.
5121.
I have a question on payroll taxes. Is that Carol?
No,
Oh, okay,
that is Texas.
That's the
okay,
That's a state
government
Vermont.
taking their cut of.
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Our share of,
Perfect.
is it Social Security and, or is it the governmental version of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Next up, we have health and disability insurance, which was a very big jump. Those are numbers we get from the town.
I, s- um. So what was it last year? I'm,
24.
Yep.
but
so
but how much were you paying per month for, so it's 937.80. Is per month now for you
Yes.
guys. What was it last year?
Per month, I don't know. Off the
Because they
top
were
of my
saying it
head.
was gonna go up like 25%, is what we thought, right?
Yes.
But it went up more than that, right?
In my math, I
Is
had,
that the wrong number? No, no, yeah.
That's just what I'm wondering. 'cause
Because
I
that
thought it
percentage
was
number
gonna
looks off.
go-
that's what I have on mine too, on my personal one too. It could be we just didn't budget enough
On the-
last year.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
that's what
the
that's
amount
what
up is right, but the percentage change is
Yeah, that
wrong.
might be off, because that looks a little.
Or the,
So,
yeah, the average, I'm just looking at the numbers that Carol gave us for November. And the actual for November, which was budgeted at 2,000, because that's 24,000 for the year. Our actual came in at 3,000 and change, 3,200. So sometime during the year, the cost must have gone up. So when the town was saying 25% from the most recent real number, as opposed to the number budgeted a year ago.
it'll probably be when January, when the new.
Is that January? So we've probably got half a
Probably
year
one-
of
Exactly.
$1,200 a month
And then the other half
Up
a year went up already.
from the prior, from when it was budgeted. If the rates went up in January of last year and we budgeted in,
Yeah, for the previous number.
based on the prior numbers, we'd only budgeted 24,000,
So you show.
but it looks like it's actuals for the years. Now
This is the budget or this is the actual here?
That's the budget.
That's
That's
the
the actuals
budget.
yet, because we're still in that fiscal year.
Now, I'm confused, and I should have noticed this, when Carol gave us the numbers, the budget to remaining that Carol gave us shows that we've got 73% of our budget left over. Oh, but we've got, no, 73%.
So is maybe the percentage is just wrong for some reason?
Yeah, maybe
Is
that
that
number's
possible?
off with the.
Because that
Let's see.
number of the 9,761 sounds about right. That looks like it was gonna be about 25% more than it was
Yeah.
last year. So that seems right. It's like, it's crazy, right? And again, this is what the town is deciding every year. You guys, the library decides what we're doing. We are not
Yes.
town. We make a choice, but it normally is what the town is doing, but library
Yeah,
is separate with their own decision making. We could do it entirely differently if we wanted to. It's easier if we don't though,
I would imagine.
but not.
All right. I'm still getting 40.67%.
Okay. This is where I'm like, not the person
Yeah.
doing the numbers here, but I would like.
Yeah, that's what
If
I,
it's 50%.
I got
it would
to.
Be, 48,000, so 40%.
That's what the math is showing me.
Yeah,
You got it too? Okay.
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
there
it
it
is,
is.
because
And we
if
can't
it was,
change that.
if it was 50%, it would be 48, it would be 48,000. So we've got 40%, so it would be, I'm sorry, it would be 36,000 if it were 50%. Because 50% is 24 is 12.
Yep.
And that would make it 36, so 40% is a good number.
And let's not forget that in case, unless something changes, 1/3 of that we're not going to actually expend.
That's for if Kendra just chooses to switch to the
Yeah.
insurance.
Unless Kendra chooses to switch to our insurance.
Okay, she's.
He's on her husband's insurance. Right?
Gotcha. Okay, so we're budgeting.
Part-time, so it's a certain percentage, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, it would be, I think it would be a full. I don't remember what the personnel policy said, but I'm pretty sure.
And do you end up paying a piece of health insurance, or is health insurance the 100% benefit for employees?
It's, the HRA fund
Yeah, that's
makes
right.
it,
Oh, right,
100%.
okay.
Yeah.
we'll have to look into that, but I'm not sure I agree with you about the part-time person getting full.
Yeah, I
coverage.
have to look at it. I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
have to go back again, but I know we had some changes and we
yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
make something more accessible, but I'm not so sure we.
Yeah.
That's
I
something we
don't
want
think it was
to look up if you have a policy.
I do.
Yeah,
Because
but we can go back and find.
we're gonna
out.
need to know
Do
that
we,
to figure
do we
this out
have
by
those
today.
policies somewhere that we can access them? Just curious.
There's a printed out copy in the back. I can send you, like you and Laura should both. And Richard, do you have a copy of the personnel policy?
Printed one? No.
No, I mean like in general.
I would take electronic.
think
Oh,
I
okay.
had it
I
in
would
my
much
email.
rather
I
have
don't think I had a
yeah.
saved one.
Okay, let me just. Who's in their mind next door?
Do not have the policy saved on here. I think I just had it in the email and it's not there.
Oh, God, this is not the right one. This is a edited version.
Well, should we keep moving through the budget?
Yeah.
anyways, though, and
Yeah.
pull that up after?
Go ahead
We
and
have
I'll-
it in the back,
Yep.
the access and to send.
Uh,
So that's health and disability,
Yeah.
and that's what the town's doing. We're choosing to do that this year, and that's what it is. So
Next item, workers' comp. 5132.
Now, you've got, I mean, not that it's a significant difference, but you've got 5134. You've got HRA expenses 27.9 in your sheet, and we've got 28 on Ally's sheet. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line. My bad. 28's there. I'm saying, I thought you just drew
what
those
we
right
gotta
out
do
of here.
workers comp
Oh,
first,
yeah.
right? 5132.
I'm assuming the workman's comp is beyond
It's,
our control,
That's a
right?
yeah,
percentage.
Yeah.
That's a
We-
percentage
And the
of,
HRA.
we just pay into what the town pays.
Keeping
Yeah.
it the same, is that gonna be okay? I mean, we have the same silver plan, which has been.
Yeah,
So
I-
therefore that doesn't change.
I assume that's not going to change. I didn't hear anything from Jeanette saying that we should change it.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
think they're
there was
bumping
nothing
up
from the
theirs.
town about that.
Yeah, I guess if we had gone to the bronze, then we would have bumped up that.
Exactly.
Okay. All
That,
right.
you know, that the other number would have changed, gone down, but that one would have had to go up.
5133 is the unemployment. That's switching over to the VLTC is saving us $2,565.
and what we're changing.
Just different companies that we're going to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and they're just cheaper.
Okay,
And we're switched from, was it taxable to reimbursable? The other one around. I forget which way we went. We
I think
switched from
so.
one to the
Yeah,
other.
I think you're right.
and why were we able to get such a big break on that?
Well, in the past, we actually, library never paid into unemployment. I don't know why, never paid into it. Then we had a case where someone did, and then it went up high because of that, because that's what happens with unemployment. And Jody did some research to find out, instead of paying it separately on her own, if we could pay it through like through the town with the Vermont City Leagues
Right.
for a reduced price.
Yeah,
And so
okay,
that's why we're
Okay,
saving this
yeah.
money.
okay,
Came out cheaper to switch over
okay.
because of the claim that was put in.
Yep. So if we actually didn't have unemployment insurance, which I didn't think you could do, we would end up paying whatever the actual cost of
Out of pocket.
unemployment grant. Yeah,
And we did.
Yep,
yeah. I can see where that get a little expensive
yeah.
real quick.
So this is very positive. It's
Good.
All right, so that was
Telephone.
3, telephone, 5302.
Can we back up for a minute?
Yep, sure.
HRA,
HRA?
We did that.
Yep,
we did?
We just said that we're keeping it the
We're gonna
same.
same,
yeah.
but,
You not agree with that?
well, I'm thinking about how it worked last year when we actually had some reserve monies that we actually upped it.
What do you mean?
We had reserve, there was a whole time and we were talking about.
There's always reserve because they don't use it all.
Because of
And then it
Kendra.
transfers over to the next year.
Yeah.
So because it transfers over to the next year, we don't have to ask for that. Is that what you're saying?
We are expending some of it on the painting.
Oh,
We're spending some of our the surplus that we had from last year. in Painting.
And where does that reserve sit?
That sits
I mean, is it,
in,
it's not real cash in a bank account
It's-
or what?
it is,
Oh, it is.
yeah.
Sitting in the
Um,
bank account,
It's,
mutual fund.
I thought that was separate and always transferred over. And that's why it's separated out.
it's just separated out into a different line item. It's
Yeah.
not like an entirely separate account or
For
anything.
accounts, we only have 2 bank accounts. We have the money mutual
I-
and checking account.
Yeah, I
There's
didn't
no
mean that. I mean, how we keep
separate
track
account.
of it, that's like a separate.
It's just, so it's item number 415. And it's called unspent HRA funds. And according
so
to this, we
budget-
should have
budget's
about
understand.
$18,000 worth.
Okay, so if something needed to be paid from that, Carol would post it to the 415 account.
415.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wouldn't come out of the
Oh,
bottom
it wouldn't
line.
come out of
It would come out of
bottom
that
line. Okay.
number.
But now we have to budget for it this year.
Well, we'll have unspent funds from this fiscal year too. Which will roll over into next year's.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
But, so what I think I hear what you're asking, Diane, is that as I look at the 2025, okay, we didn't budget for anything to go into the budget fund transfer, the 415 account. But did we have actual in 415?
Yeah.
I can open up QuickBooks and look and see.
We did budget last year.
Yes.
But there wasn't anything in the 415 line item.
No, not for this, not so far this year
Well, I'm
because,
saying, but even
yeah.
last year, I don't see anything in the
No.
415 line.
um,
But yet in Carol's sheet, she does show
yes.
an $1,800 budgeted line item.
It's pretty much impossible to estimate how much we're gonna end up with. So,
I
you know.
wonder why we're seeing any number here and no number in the.
Because this is the estimate of what this year we're gonna end up with, and we just don't know
No,
yet.
this was 2025. I thought this was 2025 budget.
Yes. That was our budget worksheet.
That was your budget
Yeah.
worksheet for last year. But when Carol is doing her year-to-date and her month, she is showing that there was, unless I'm reading, that there was something budgeted.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
She did
I'm
put a,
seeing 1,853 budgeted for the month, nothing for actual,
okay,
but I'm not
Just
seeing
wanna make
anything
This is
budgeted.
from the town meeting
Okay.
last year.
Ah,
And you can see the budget.
And there
numbers
is
from
a
the
budget
previous
line.
fiscal year.
415. Okay, so there was, okay, we just don't have, we don't have it on this one. But yeah, this is the real, okay, so there was a budgeted, unspent HRA funds.
The budget was about 18,000, the actual was 15.
That's what we
Right.
had coming into, had available in that reserve
Mhm.
coming into 24.
Mhm.
And so what will happen when the real budget hits, whatever is left over in our reserve will go in that line. And
Yeah.
we will still have budgeted however much we're gonna budget. Do we have any guess, Ally, as to how much is likely to be there by the end of the year?
Well, after the paint, because
Yeah. We've already paid $8,000.
So that's half of it.
Yeah,
So that the actuals from last,
Yep.
from the 2022-23,
Yep,
that's basically gonna cover the paint minus $200, which will.
okay, now I'm really confused.
Coming out
How
of
is-
HRA money.
Yeah,
Monies.
because that is simply in reality, is that just a surplus
Yeah.
from the budget that we're bringing into this year,
Yes.
whatever,
Exactly.
whatever we need it for?
Yep.
it probably shouldn't have been named HRA surplus. It should have just been named surplus.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're suggesting. They're suggesting a name of, what are they calling it? Surplus,
Unspent HRA funds. That's what it's saying. Rename to unspent HRA funds.
okay. So where's Stephen from Peter to pay Paul, so to speak?
Yeah,
Essentially.
Are we reasonably safe with that? Are we depleting an account that we shouldn't be depleting?
well, so earlier this year, when we discussed having a surplus account, it seemed like nobody was interested in doing that. So, or last year, whenever, and I think part of it was that there was still that huge number that was on the budget that was imaginary money, but it was just
Okay,
the way QuickBooks
Yeah.
reconciled itself when it didn't know what to do with that number. So that number has disappeared, and it was an enormous number. So part of that discussion was we should give this money back to the town. And we didn't really have any money to give back to the town at that time. But we had talked about whether or not, the trustees had talked about whether or not that was something that they wanted to do to build a surplus.
Or how much surplus should we
Yeah.
have? That was the
Yep.
question.
Exactly,
Like, the library
yeah.
should always have a
right,
surplus.
a
because-
surplus for whatever. So
But-
in essence, are you saying that from the employee's perspective, there really is nothing to carry over? Any expenses that you incurred during the year would come out of, would be paid in some manner. So as long as we have
Okay.
enough fund to, as long as we have enough funds to pay, to meet our HRA requirements, we're okay.
Mhm.
So that, we're sort of a little bit of a misnaming there.
So my
Yeah.
question becomes,
We're not
what
pulling
is
out of
what is the individual amounts that we allot for each person?
So it's 28,000 divided by 3. And I'm sure the town, that's from the town at some point, I assume. So
Now, is that a real per person limit, or is that just an allocation of budget?
that's something you'd have to ask, like
Okay,
Jeanette or something.
I think it's for the budget, like maybe
Okay.
one person has
Right,
more,
so-
one has a
so-
little less.
right,
but
okay.
We figure with that amount, I mean, at one point we had dropped it, we had even higher at one point, and we went
Mhm.
lower. I'm like,
Okay.
let's-
okay.
Yeah.
So
Somebody
it's
spent a lot of time on it
it's
last
a
year.
guess as to what we're gonna need for the staff.
right, in addition
Okay.
to their health
Yeah.
insurance,
Right.
which
Right,
tends to not be used because it's good health insurance, but you never know.
Yeah.
And so for emergency, you have to have it budgeted.
Yeah.
And budgeted for 3 people.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
she could at some point become full-time.
right.
Or she,
So it's-
Or choose to use
Yeah.
the library's health insurance instead of
Right,
her husband's health insurance.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that number, I mean, I think it's good for now. We might want to do a little bit more research this year and make sure that that is a
Yeah.
good number. As far as being surplus, and so now if we're doing that, you only have a certain amount left for HRA for the staff, if that's what's going on, right,
Mhm.
Allison?
Yes,
Like half.
we should be about 50% right now. I just emailed you all the personnel policy. I haven't looked
Okay,
at it. I
great.
just emailed it
Thank
out.
Thank you.
Um, let me open up quick. I don't have my stuff from last month. Let me look at my stuff from last month from Carol. Okay, November.
I know that my email goes to, doverfree.org. Are the others still at Doverfree 1913 or,
Diane and Laura are just over free,
okay,
and Kathy and Richard are 1913.
okay.
Very confused. I apologize.
I just want to make sure, because I created a little distribution list, so I want to make sure that.
Yeah,
I'm still getting, if I send something to everybody.
Me too.
You did? This is where I like. the-
Your question?
let me see. The
No.
I thought. Oh,
No.
whatever. Whatever.
so
Not in a separate.
That was what was rolled over
What
from.
was that? The
previous year.
fund for individual?
From the extra surplus.
Yep.
So
My understanding.
right now it looks like according to November's budget versus actuals, we still have 100% left of our HRA expense money, which I'm not really sure how that's true because I know I've spent, I've done co-pays and
I
stuff.
thought it was separate.
So what happens is it goes to the town, those expenses go to the town, and then Marco sends us a bill. So Marco doesn't send us a bill every month. Marco sends us a bill
When it feels like it,
occasionally.
round to it, yeah.
Yeah. So, he might just have not sent us a bill yet for that information, or maybe it's the end of the year.
We had extra money for the painting that was separate from the HRA.
No, that's our surplus money.
So we basically, we didn't budget for the painting.
No, it was not painting budget for, if I was, I would have, the other line item it probably would have been in would be equipment furnishing, service maintenance, because you could probably consider that maintenance. And that line item is only 4,500.
Okay,
So that is not
Yeah.
budgeted. That was the budget for the previous year.
okay. So
The
when the
budget
decision,
for
when the
2024,
decision was
25
made to do
2,000.
the painting, which is obviously a good thing.
Mhm.
How did we? Is it the?
There was a motion to use the unspent.
To use the surplus.
Yeah. the
Okay, so the
surplus.
board decided to grab those funds,
Yes.
and because you apparently you thought there was enough there that
Yeah.
we weren't screwing ourselves, pardon me.
And it looks like, which number is that? It's, 5415.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's the
415.
budget.
According to the budget versus actuals from last month, we have 21,600 in there.
Which, yeah, the check that just hit should be for this coming month.
Yeah,
We
So
haven't
that's-
paid any of the painting bills
We
yet.
we
painted
paid
8,000,
$8,000, but
Okay,
in
but that hit
December.
after those numbers came.
Yeah,
Okay, after those numbers,
Yeah.
okay.
so it'll be 21,000
Okay,
minus 8.
Okay,
Stay
so,
healthy.
Yes, I thoroughly intend on
Okay.
staying healthy.
Okay, yeah, please do.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, it was a conscious decision balancing priorities to say, okay, the painting needs to be done. We don't have it budgeted. We got more in the HRA surplus than we think we're gonna need. So we're gonna steal from Peter to pay Paul. It's within our own budget.
We can do, yeah.
We can reasonably do that with, again,
Well,
with-
it's under the, we're pulling out of the 415 line item, not out of the HRA expense, the 5134. That's still there. That money's not being pulled out.
okay, so the amount budgeted for HRA is still there and therefore
Yes.
still, and we're pulling out of what was the surplus
Mhm.
coming into the year.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, those are the
But not-
judgments.
Yeah,
those are adjustments we're gonna have to make all the time.
Yep.
Because we don't, am I safe in saying that once we've got our, what's the official word, not allotment, but
Yeah,
the pot that the town,
Yeah, once the town gives us whatever money it is for the budget
Right.
they agree upon,
we don't have any other access other
to
than
any other
begging.
funds, yeah,
yeah.
other than
You guys
requesting
are-
donations.
Yep.
You guys are elected officials and you have full authority over the money that is
Okay,
a lot or a lot.
that's right, because
the library.
and I only learned this from Joe. Would you say, who's the board,
Oh, Mahon. Yeah, Joe Mahon.
that we really are functionally independent.
Mhm.
We're part of the town, but
Yeah.
we're the ones, with the oversight to.
They
to
give
make
us
the
our
decision.
budget and then
If we,
from there.
this is
we
our
take
budget, and if
over.
we have to steal from Peter to pay Paul, and if we have to not do something that we had budgeted and wanted to do
That is
in
our
order
choice
to do
make.
this, then, Ally suggests it and says, this is what we think we need, and we have to decide whether that's, I'm sort of talking to myself here, I apologize. I'm trying to understand how things work. I didn't take the fun course that Diane, my wife took a course called Get on Board. And it's a course on how government and pieces of government work. And it was a fascinating course for her. I may try to take it, but because I'm really truly ignorant of the town processes, and I apologize.
No,
for that.
he has
Did you
not. got-
get any of these?
No.
I will send them to you digitally.
Okay, yes, please. Nope.
I do not have,
And we probably need copies for
I
everyone.
don't know if I
Yeah,
have that one.
I'll,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll
that
make
would
a
be-
note
yeah,
to
Yeah,
send
please.
out.
because the questions that you're asking are in here.
Okay, good. I don't
And
get
then
the
there
questions,
was
are
also-
the answers in
Yeah.
it? I don't get the questions, I want the answers.
There was also
Okay.
a workshop through Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns last year
Mhm.
that we all sat, well, I know I sat through it.
Yeah, that
And
was,
yeah.
what it means to be
That
a
happened.
trustee for a
I would
library.
love to do that kind of stuff.
I didn't see it rolling around.
Okay.
They usually, I think we did it in January. Around
Okay.
then, it seemed pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember that?
No,
I did it.
I know that
Are
was
you
one
on
of
a
like.
mailing list of some kind for this?
Yes, you
that
have
I
to,
can-
you
we
have
gotta
to become
sign
a
up for it.
member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And can somebody shoot me information on how I would do that?
I'll try.
I don't know because I'm not allowed to. be a
Okay.
member.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, anything like that,
What?
anything like that you've
But this
got.
is basic.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's,
it's- you know what? This pretty much sums it up what they're gonna tell you in a
okay,
conference, but they just go into a lot more detail.
Yeah.
And they also offer opportunities to ask
Yep.
questions, so.
yeah, I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I really am. Well,
Anyways, I
would-
think if
I
you
would
get
love that.
this, it'll
That would be
help.
great, thank you.
I don't have to run it off.
No, I believe it or not, I might have thrown away like 45 copies.
I wouldn't want it anyway.
it's being updated right now too, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's a living document.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
update it as things change. It's legally, like, a whole bunch of laws have changed too, so I'm sure they're updating it for that.
Is there a state or a state library's website or anything like that
Yeah.
Any information like that you've got?
Okay.
I mean, I'll be able to pick and choose, and I'm sorry to be taking up all this time for this,
Okay.
but
No,
I feel so lost, not in terms of
Yeah.
numbers I can do. It's what do we do with the numbers and how, where do they go and what authority or responsibilities do we have? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So you're gonna hit this and when I run this off and give that to you,
That's okay. I'll scan it instead, but actually,
whatever.
is this it?
Yeah, but I gotta burn it off. That's the only copy I have
I
right
don't-
now. Okay. You are so.
Don't need no stamp. Don't need no
So
stamp.
where were we?
Yep, we're
Um,
at the HRA and then unemployment we covered. The telephone and internet, 5302, that's staying flat. 5304, books and materials.
That went up.
Yes, so I pushed that up to 6,000. So the history of the of that, I've looked into the history of that number. The 34,000, that covers, right now, it covers anything that we buy essentially that is check outable or borrowable
PDF and save them.
digitally. So what I'd like to start doing is migrating some of those things that we pay for that are digital into the online services
5312?
5312
Yep.
eventually. However, I did still bump that up because so I was looking at, so last year it was the same. We level funded that one for the previous year.
One, online services or?
Nope.
Material?
5304.
We didn't, yeah, 5304. So that was level funded from the year before.
And the actuals were actually higher than that for the 2022-23 fiscal year. They were over by $1,765 over budget for books and materials. So we need to keep that in mind. If we're already going over budget, then we need to modify our budget.
Yeah. And then, so 2 years before that in fiscal year 22, the number was 32,000. Then they dropped it in 23 to 30,000 for some unknown reason. And then they bumped it to 34 in 24. So, and then it's been, then, and then this fiscal year we're still at 34. So I think there's pretty strong, which drives me crazy. What I have here is that they were at 32,000. They went over budget by $700 and dropped it down $2,000. So I don't understand what the reasoning
Maybe
was.
trying to keep it lower, and because we have that other surplus, we're like, let's.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning was, but I wasn't here, obviously. But
When did you join?
I October of last year. So I came in and that month we started doing the budget for this fiscal year.
Okay.
So I really had like very little experience with what the library actually spent or how it operated when I joined this library. So.
But you are proposing it go up 8,000 between the online services and books and material.
So the online services is the $2,000 is Blackstone. It's just moving Blackstone into that category. This is where I'm building in the extra that we can cut. If we go to town meeting and say, this is what we want, this is where we cut it. If they come back and say, no, we don't think you need a 10%, or it's what, 12%?
17.65.
Now,
No, I'm sorry, the total expenses, the total appropriation.
Yeah, 12%.
Yeah, so if they come back and say, no, we don't think you need to go up that much, then
we come back.
that's
When
where,
we're sharpening our pencils, that's where we likely sharpen.
yes.
What's happening with the one that Blackstone is replacing?
Hoopla.
No, Baker and Taylor,
What's that?
Yeah.
Baker and Taylor, we're getting rid of it.
Okay.
We did not choose to
Okay,
renew
How
it.
much did that cost?
$500 a year,
Okay.
Okay, so this
What's-
should go up 15 then, right? Not 2.
Well,
theoretically.
again, if we
Yeah.
want to leave some room in there, if we have to sharpen our pencil, is basically what I'm saying. What's the other audible one today besides?
Hoopla,
That's it.
Palace Project.
More. Border,
Boundless,
what's that?
is it
Boundless,
boundless?
thank you.
That's Baker and Taylor. I'm sorry,
Okay,
Baker
fine.
and Taylor
Okay.
goes
So
up.
boundless
Okay.
will no longer be.
It will not be.
That's
So that's
yeah.
We're
something,
left with
It's a-
Hoopla,
yeah,
Palace, and Blackstone.
right.
Okay.
Boundless is a very small starting
Okay.
point, but then to get anything good on it, you have to purchase it. So it ends up becoming for those who don't know, to purchase an audiobook for a library, it's like $100 each book. And then you're only, then they limit you to how many checkouts you can use. So
Wow.
like it's either 2 years or 26
So we're getting rid of that.
checkouts. So we're getting rid of that
Okay.
So we have the Blackstone.
instead of that.
And then
yes.
are we hoping that because we're getting that the hoopla will go down.
Yes,
So,
Okay, so Blackstone is audio only. Hoopla is both,
It's-
but we pay by the checkout. And Palace, where does that
it's
fit?
free
It's free to the library?
to the library.
Okay, that's good reason to keep it.
Yes, that's the
and-
only reason we're
okay.
keeping it.
And it's fairly limited in what's available. in it?
Fairly limited. You like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
And I looked through Blackstone and I'm going, yeah, that
Black,
was my reaction.
Blackstone's collection, I think you have to be a fan of certain genres to really enjoy Blackstone's
That's a
collection.
nice way of putting it.
I mean, I think those are the collections that are the most circulated here.
through hoopla
Based on-
or just in general?
Just based on
And
my
what you know about
experience
people
with-
and,
yeah, what
okay,
people have checked
whatever
out.
people are into.
Yeah,
Now, Ben, and you
That's
said that we can't, can we track? I know we can't track what gets checked out by who. So
yeah.
that's a no-no. The rest of the world knows everything about us, but we can't. I
Yes.
love that. But will we have statistics on what gets checked out so that we know?
With Blackstone, I believe we will.
Okay,
With Hoopla, we don't.
okay.
Do we just know the type of product
Okay.
that is
And,
used?
and how many and
Yes,
and
yeah.
cost, right, obviously.
Have we brought
Okay.
the number down for hoopla? that we
Yes.
talked about? To,
It was either 7 or 5.
I think
I
we
thought-
agreed on 7.
But 7 was the first agreement,
Yeah.
and then we had talked about 5 at the
Yeah.
last meeting, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
We finalized 5.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't.
I think we were like, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
And
it.
push
Because we,
With part of
And
it,
that,
hoping
yeah.
people would move on to a
Exactly.
different
Okay.
And
form.
if it comes
And-
and say
and
the
we
thing, hey,
tell-
people's not working, we can push the Blackstone. Like, oh, well, there's this other platform. you
Right.
can
and
try.
if people aren't using the Blackstone, then we look at that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it's due.
Yeah.
It's a year
Once we
subscription,
have-
so it's a good amount of time to get
Are
it.
we able on Oopla to know either in the individual in the aggregate, how many people or who is using more than 5 or going to their limit?
No,
Not even statistically? We don't, they can't tell us that you only got 5 people that are taking out more than 10 books a month?
well, they can't.
Okay.
They just cannot check out more than 7.
Well, okay, but let
Yeah.
me say, within that limit,
Yeah,
you've got the statistics of how many checkouts are people using? Are most people doing 2 or 3? Are most people doing 5?
I have not been able to find
No,
that information on that.
Even in the aggregate?
Um,
That would be helpful in the aggregate because it would tell us, and I think what, the thing that you've been pointing to a number of times is, is the limit an issue for us
Mhm.
at all? Do we in fact know that anybody is taking out more than 5 books a month?
We do.
We
Yep.
do. Okay, and how do we know that?
Because I,
Because you're doing 10. Can't do it, doing 10, unless
I mean,
you're doing
every-
10.
I mean, electronics, not books.
oh,
Yeah, Electronics, they were each
Yeah.
maxing out. All of them were maxing out, all of our
I
librarians were.
think let's see, let's
Yeah, it's
drop it to 5 because we chose to do the
Yeah.
Blackstone. That was a choice to spend $2,000 minus the 5 for the other. So 1,500, I think we owe it to our budgeting to try to drop Hoopla to 5,
okay,
which is a service that no other library around here even offers. So it's really nice that we offer anything at all, I think. And see how it goes. And if people can get their stuff on Blackstone in within that budget, and if they can't, and it's a problem, people hate it, we get rid of
Yeah.
Blackstone. And
But
we
again-
still keep a number budgeted for Hoopla, so we never experience that again.
Mhm.
you
How
know?
do we even know? It could be just a handful of people that are really.
Well, that's what
using it.
what
Yeah.
I'm getting, because I think your point is a really important one. But if we don't know that somebody other than somebody complaining because they can't get
Mhm.
another one, is that our only numerical test
At the
of
moment,
whether our
yeah.
limit is
Yeah.
too low?
It
Is that
seems like,
somebody says they
yes.
can't.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
maybe that's something we put out and we were talking about this little director section of the newsletter.
yeah,
Say, if you run into a problem, let us know.
Yeah.
Because this is what we're doing. We're trying to find the right balance for our costs because we do pay. We'd rather you went to Blackstone first. But if you're in Hoopla because you couldn't get it in Blackstone, and you're shut out, tell us. Can't promise that we fix something right now, but tell us, because then we'll know, well, you know what, it's 2 people a month. Well, if it's 2 people a month, up the damn thing to 10 and let them have it. If that's the only place that's even, if nobody else is exceeding a limit of 5.
But we still have a budget number that they can't go over, right? So that
Yes.
we don't.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's five,
the
it's 500.
500.
Okay,
So
well,
let's,
Yeah.
so quick thought that passed through my mind. After we've instituted these 3 new, not new programs, but changed program formats around. Put out a quick questionnaire.
Yeah.
Of users, which one do you tend to use the most? Or whatever, just to get
Well,
some
it's Hoopla.
feedback and get some sort of,
Because it's easiest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but it might just give us a little bit better ground in understanding what people are actually using. I don't
Mhm.
know.
And actually the people don't really know what the cost is. They're just like, it's online, it's
Right.
free.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I would have thought.
Yeah,
Free.
no,
Yeah.
that is gonna be
Yeah.
one of my notes from the director,
Yeah.
like in the coming
Yeah.
weeks, like, hey.
Can I ask to bring it back to the budget just for this year? Because I
Sure,
think this is
sure.
something we
No,
can
you're
right.
continue
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah.
Is that
Yep,
okay?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's a great
Just
idea.
looking
The
at
Good.
library is
Yep.
gonna
So
open
do
soon.
Right,
we,
thank you.
do we think it needs to go up 2,000 this year based on all that? Is that just keeping it
I'd like
safe
to,
or?
I'd like to keep it at that 2,000. Just sort of just in case we get pushed back, because we do have, even if we took that to 1,500, we're still gonna have what looks like a pretty high number. And we're gonna get some pushback. Let's have some place in there that we can grab something
Mhm.
and at least say, gee, we did take 500 out. We really, we can, if we have to come back with a sharpened pencil.
Yep.
So I'd like to leave it in, would just be my thought for that purpose. If it turns out to be extra and we don't spend it, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, where were we?
Yeah, that's what will be looked at. I mean, these
Yeah.
are the biggest ones. The
Yep,
biggest
those are-
one is all this
Yep.
right
Mhm.
here. And I
Yep.
guess if we could calculate that.
That is, we did the numbers, 41%.
I'm sorry, yes,
The health insurance is
so
like
the
40-something
49.52%.
percent of the increase.
Yeah,
Is
So-
that health insurance?
in actuality, we're only really going up
Half of that increase is just health insurance.
like 6%
Yeah.
on our own. It's
Right.
Yeah,
the
that's,
town
and
that,
it's gonna be important for us to be able to, now, who's are you the one who's on the hook, at town meeting, if somebody has questions about the?
usually it's,
That'll be me and you.
yeah,
Maybe you, okay,
yeah,
okay, so as long as we're armed to respond to those
Exactly.
questions,
Yep.
we respond the best we can, and if that's not good enough, then we come back with the sharpened pencils.
Yeah.
See what we need to do.
And then the town decides. They
Yep.
will.
The
I'm
top-
sorry, I just gotta
Right.
close the shade, I can't
The
see.
library, and I think this nice,
Yeah.
we're trying to be
Yeah.
conscientious.
Yep.
What do you?
And I think showing the,
We
like,
have to make an.
we have
Really
1,
needs to do.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 line items that are flat.
By going through
Another
Yeah.
each line item and
two,
trying to understand the rationale.
3 that are going up by 100 or less.
Yep,
And we're trimming down that unemployment by 2,500. Like,
Yep.
the numbers, I think, pretty clearly show that we're not just trying to
right,
take a bunch of money from the town.
right.
We're making an active effort to keep the budget low where we can.
And our statistics support the increase in books and materials.
Yes, plus the rate of inflation
Yep.
too. If
Yep.
we level fund, what we're doing is actually decreasing the
Right.
amount of
Yep.
things that we can buy.
And
The shipping postage, does that include the?
That's the second courier stop.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why. we're
Which is
and where
great.
was,
And then you
online
get the
shipping,
grant,
5312.
which is
Yeah,
52,
it's,
yeah.
really balanced that
Good.
out. That's information worth bringing.
Yeah.
To the meeting as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah, you do a lot of work on getting grants.
yeah, we're budgeting $10,000 in grants for this year. So, I mean, out of our budget, we're really cutting down a lot with that.
Yeah, or some materials, 5306, library and office supplies. That is going up by 500.
And that reasoning is the same as the books and materials, inflation.
Everything's more
Everything is
expensive
just,
now.
have you bought paper towels lately?
You said something about you got planning on getting a new printer scanner. Where
Yes,
does that fit into?
no clue. And I have no idea. They did not give us any sort of timeline on when we would be able to get one. So right now we pay $100 a month for maintenance, rental. It pays for the toner. It doesn't pay for them to get us the toner, but it pays for the toner.
Wait a minute, it doesn't pay for them to get us.
We have to
We pay
pay
for shipping.
For shipping, okay.
Yeah. Which is crazy to
That's
me.
weird.
The, it also hosts the server too,
Okay,
our server. So
okay.
I think that I've rented machines from other companies
Yep.
before, and like you can rent one from WB Mason and they won't charge you for the, shipping the ink or whatever,
Right.
but then they whack you a whole lot more for the monthly. Yeah.
So the monthly is the printer and supplies.
Printer supplies except for paper,
Except for paper.
And you need to pay
And the
for
server.
if they come, if you need to call them to
They do-
maintain it or whatever.
They do not charge us for visits. And we
Okay.
we had an instance where the whole system went down in the back and we had a very old, like, surge protecting unit in the back and it just died. And so we figured out how to bypass it so we could run the Wi-Fi, but they came the next day and replaced it.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good.
What line are we on?
We're talking about 5306, which is library and office supplies.
Yes.
So we went back up.
Sorry.
That's, because we're going one by one.
Okay.
So that's
We
where-
bounced a little.
$500, and that was a
Okay.
$500 increase.
Okay.
Yeah, we had bounced down to the 5312 because of the connection
Oh,
between
yeah.
5304.
Okay,
So now we're going back in order.
thank you.
So that budgeted line item is probably going to go up, which is what we're saying for the budget, probably going up because we have the hopes of getting a replacement printer. Now,
Yes.
is there anybody to push on that, make that happen?
They have a list of people who are waiting for a new printer and we
Yeah.
are on the list.
And the they is the vendor that we're.
Yeah, we're currently
getting this
using.
from.
Yeah, I would hesitate to change vendors
Okay.
because I think that they're reasonably priced
Okay.
for what they do.
Okay,
Just the server hosting in itself would cost us about as much as we're paying for everything right now, I think.
okay.
So,
So next up is 5308, which we're level funding staff development. Any questions or concerns on that? All right, 5310. That is equipment and furnishings dropping by 500.
Is that because we
That's-
weren't spending all of last year's, I mean, is that? or did we-
Because we're trying to save money on the
Well,
budget.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
Main-
what furnishings are we going to be getting? Is that what you're saying?
so it's equipment and furnishing. So it's anything like,
Well,
Like
then,
this.
And it
that
also-
for the meetings, I think.
yeah, the speaker, the new computer that we bought. It also,
Desks in the back.
yeah, it's historically also
Okay.
covered, cleaning supplies and like maintenance, I think, were the other two things that were used to be on there. So,
Like
like
moved it to other categories or?
when I buy paper towels, I put it in that line item. When I buy toilet paper, I put it in that line item. If I get, more hand soap, that sort of thing.
We don't have any supplies,
Well, we have a cleaning line.
Yeah, but that's just for the
That's just the cleaning
cleaners.
supply,
Yeah,
clean company, yeah.
So we think that number is okay?
I think that number is
okay,
okay.
so that's essentially, basically, that's equipment, furnishing and supplies.
Yes.
Okay, that's your paper towel,
Yeah.
toilet paper, that sort of stuff, okay.
So 5312, we discussed already.
Yep.
5313, shipping and postage. That is the increase with the courier system getting the twice a week.
And that's another place where we can show statistically that we've had,
It's being used.
it's being used,
Okay.
so it's
Yeah.
worthwhile.
Okay, and that's principally what, interlibrary?
It's interlibrary.
Interlibrary months.
Yep.
5314, cleaning.
It seems like a large increase, but
That is in anticipation because of rising costs of everything. We're most likely gonna get charged more.
We get charged not a whole lot of money.
For a
Right
whole
now.
year, that's not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
Yeah.
like $25 a visit or something. So,
I think that's okay too. Membership fees, is that enough? That's for like museum passes, things like that.
no,
It's not.
museum passes,
For-
that goes into 5304.
For VLTs.
That is for, no, it's for, ALA, VLA,
Great.
MBA, I don't, all those.
So it's the memberships that either you, a staff, or the library.
Professionals.
Or could be the AT&T.
Is the ancestry?
Okay.
She's
I've-
postponed my annual.
Or does that go in
checkup
online
on
services?
my PC.
I've put that in online services, but I paused it for the moment because it's not the service we really want. We really want the patron facing service. So I'm pausing it and I'm digging harder into the patron based service because we haven't really
right now.
I discontinued it.
I went back up to Diane's question. So you're comfortable that your $375 for membership dues
Yes.
will meet your needs?
Yes.
Okay. fine.
Yeah.
Check.
Fine.
5316 is programs, all ages, that is being level funded.
Is that enough?
Kendra is really good at coming up with programs that
Very
are,
frugal.
yes, are very low cost. So I think that is,
Yeah, and apparently she's also a recycle, reuse.
she's a
hack rat.
queen
Hack
and
rat.
she's also good at roping community members into volunteering to do things for her.
Or
So,
getting supplies, like I brought in some of the Home Depot kits that they do every month. I brought some of those in as a prizes for the kids reading program. So they have that.
Yep.
yeah.
Although I think programming is super important.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So hopefully that's enough. If not, maybe come from books and material.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're able to like multi-use things too. Like every time we show a movie in there, they just used to stream them from Netflix, which was a lot cheaper, but now I buy the DVD and then the DVD after that, the DVD goes into the collection and it's a collection bonus. So, try to be more
So then that item
multi-purpose
go
about
into
stuff.
books and material, but it also funds a program.
Yeah.
Public relations.
Yeah.
We have something brand new. I signed up for this thing called Centex, I believe it's called. Oh, I have the card from the guy on my desk. The town is sponsoring it. The Economic Development Committee is sponsoring it. And it's a marketing program. And essentially, I signed up for 6 months. The first couple of months is free. And then after that, the town will reimburse us half of our cost. So it ends up being like $150 for 6 months.
Is that the Central Texas Internet Marketing? Centex Technologies?
It probably is. But what happens is like you scan a QR code, you sign up for these text messages, and then we send you text messages like, hey, program next week, Santa's coming, whatever. They send, like, we can set them all up ahead of time so they can send automatically and all that good stuff. So I told the guy I'd sign up for 6 months. He goes, great. We signed all the paperwork. And then he called me the other day and says, I don't know if you qualify because it has to be a business. And I said, well, Eric told me about it. So you ask Eric. And so I'm hoping that I haven't heard back from him yet.
They are run like a business.
Yeah.
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 We don't
we're just a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Business, yeah.
So
But I can understand being a quasi-governmental.
yeah,
uh,
so I'm waiting to hear back from
Yeah.
that, but that's an interesting marketing possibility.
So if
and-
you can't get the grant for it, then how much would that cost?
It would be 300 for 6 months. But I already told him we're not interested if we don't get the money from the town. Because I think that's too much for.
Then what is the rest of that for? That's
MailChimp for the
advertising and-
newsletter.
MailChimp is included in that. The newspaper ads are
Newspaper
included in that. You know, if we wanted to boost something on Facebook or Instagram, we could,
Do we do that?
not really,
I mean,
not right now.
The MailChimp and the weekly newsletter.
Yeah.
Is the lion's share of that.
Yeah, no,
And is that a fixed fee for MailChimp or? is it-
yeah, I
But
think
the weekly newsletter is not, is there a fee for that?
it's a $20 a month fee
Oh.
for the platform, the MailChimp
Okay.
platform. I think it's either 20 or 25. I get confused between that and Adobe because we pay for Adobe too.
Did we spend all of that last year? The 4,000?
The public relations, I have no idea.
Was it 53, 17?
I know the 2022, 23 fiscal year. Looks like public relations, there was about $350 not spent.
Yeah, we spent 472 in November. And we've got half the budget left.
Yeah, we
So
just got a
looks like-
bill.
Looks like we're on track for spending it.
Yeah,
Right. Let's move on, right?
ads in the Deerfield Valley.
And that may be something that's worth our conversation at a future meeting of what kind of things can we do to get more visibility out there?
Mhm.
And that's where that would,
Yeah.
that would flow.
Definitely.
Here.
Next item is 5318 copier expenses.
Yeah, and also like how to do, yeah, I think that's a great conversation for another meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
We could have fun
What can we
with,
do that
we could have
doesn't
fun with-
cost money
we
too?
could, we could have fun with that one,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, I like that one.
Uh,
Let's put it on the agenda.
Yeah,
We should put it on the agenda.
yep, I'll take another.
Okay. Here. That's it, right?
Yeah,
The copier is, we were just talking about equipment and furniture as the copier.
no, it was a sidebar. It's a sidebar.
Okay, yep.
Love the
Okay,
water,
great.
if we ever get you drinkable water, that ought to go right down.
Right?
5319
I
bottled
always have
water,
Oh, yeah.
600,
I don't know if I try it.
going up by $25.
Professional services, so.
That is Carol and legal fees.
Okay. Is there any chance that will go down because there was so much extra work? for her?
Absolutely. There's a chance it might go down and who knows if there's a chance that the other will go down too.
Yeah,
So,
that's what we needed the year before.
I'm really hoping that next year when we sit down and have this conversation, it's
Yeah.
going to be,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we budget for the highest.
Yeah.
And then we hope it's gonna be better for
Hoping
both
for
of
it.
those, so.
Yeah.
Since there's really some
prepare for the worst and
consistency
hope for the
now
best.
yeah.
with Carol and.
Yeah,
yes.
Carol has been having to come in less than like when I first was here, she was here
Yeah,
several times a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And now there's some weeks where she doesn't come in and it's like,
yeah.
she's my emotional
That was
support.
like, that was the thing in my head where I had like an arrow, because I
Yeah.
was like, that should be going down.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet, so.
Yeah, not until everything's resolved.
Right, trustee services, there we are,
5322 trustee services.
I found out we get paid,
$5 per
we
meeting.
get paid, no, I was
Just
told
kidding.
we get paid by the minute.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
Carol explained it to me. It's like
Yeah.
minimum wage and then
We're not
Richard
getting
gets the
minimum
big
wage.
bucks.
Well, it's a percentage of
bit
minimum
more.
wage, a small percentage.
Yeah, Carol tried to
Yeah.
explain it to me and I
Yeah.
think even she was like,
It's like $6 an hour or something.
yeah.
I don't know why we even have that, it feels like, but there must be some legal
It's
reason.
probably-
That
it-
number has never gone up in like probably 30 years.
The petty trustees don't get paid.
Yeah.
They don't take
Interesting.
a fee.
Okay, well, moving on.
You guys are just in this for the money, I know.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, 5322 is being level funded.
And by the way, if you want to take a tax deduction from my house, it's $1.99 of mileage. 11 cents a
Yeah.
mile that you could pay.
I take the tax
Miscellaneous
deduction for
100.
driving to Mount Snow
Can we
every
get rid of
Wednesday.
miscellaneous 100? Like, why do we have that?
I don't know.
Well, I think
What is
you
it?
always have to, you really should have a category that something weird comes in and you really shouldn't have to pigeonhole it into the wrong category. I know there's room, but you sort of.
$100?
What's that? Yeah,
Would it be
$100.
more?
We could level it at 100.
Yeah. Let it 100,
Okay.
And you know, it's for
Okay.
something weird that you needed to do that just really doesn't fit in here. You put an explanation next to it. We see it at, we see it
Maybe
at
in the
a meeting
receipts.
and we say, oh yeah, that was fine. Okay, you had to spend $50 and that was weird, but,
Okay,
Um,
coffee bar.
yeah,
All that's
I'm,
good stuff.
I'm sure everything is more expensive.
Yes.
And it would be nice to have more going on
it
there.
would be nice. Yeah. Um,
Well, and you had mentioned it was like using the funds that come out of it,
yeah.
feed back into it. I think that's
Yeah,
a great idea.
Instead of putting that into our general donations,
Yeah, that
like,
should go directly towards coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cookies.
yeah.
if you guys are all on board with that.
Oh, sure.
One other change that we have made
Because
with
that's what it's for.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
petty cash is that we now have a backup bank in the office, in the filing cabinet. So it's locked up and safe. It's another, I think, $100
Right.
that we put aside so that if I had somebody who tried to pay for copies with $100 bill the other day. I was like, really? There's
Yeah.
nothing I'm gonna do with that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna go and clean it out
Yeah.
for them, but Carol suggested it. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So that way,
Yeah.
if we don't have the money at the desk, we have it.
That
in the
makes
back.
sense.
Yeah, and goodies.
Yeah.
Coffee. And we could still, like maybe in the newsletter, you could say, things that we're looking for are the coffee
Yeah.
supplies or something like that.
Yeah.
People just
Yeah.
wanna do a little donation of something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I think that we would talk about in terms of what can we do for marketing? And that sort of ties in with it in a way, because it's getting participation.
Right.
Get people involved in the library in one way or another.
Mhm.
We'll take your time, we'll take your money, we'll take your supplies.
Take your snacks.
Did you give me that number again of the 40, whatever percent it was out of the health insurance out of the criminal?
Yeah, it's 49.52%.
2%.
So we shaved $100 off of it.
All off of which one?
Well, out of 5.3. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My brain misfired and I crossed out the wrong one, so it's even.
So. This one we don't have like this one we had, and there's nothing on there but surplus towards the budget for this year. Do we have anything that we want to put towards it?
Oh, in terms of the on the income section of the,
Talking the health surplus.
Yes, or other, yes, yeah, health surplus.
So what's not on here is that we estimated we're going to receive $3,000 in donations, 10,900 in
Yeah,
grants.
This is just the expenses. I didn't
Right,
do
yeah.
any of the income stuff.
The copier use 400, interest 200.
And what about like HRA money?
That's up to you guys if you want to use.
Well,
We have to have some surplus. We've always had that. This is
Yeah.
where I'm still a little confused over what we have for surplus.
We have $21,000 in surplus,
And we
In the-
minus 8,000 for Mitch.
in the HRA,
there's gonna be
in what
minus
we're calling the
another
HRA
1,000
surplus. So it's
finish
21
payment.
minus 8, that's only
and that's
13,000.
it now. So that's not much. So we need to
No.
keep that. So we have nothing
Yeah,
towards it this year.
yeah. So let's not,
Because, and it has gone up.
1,000 minus the
Our request is going up. 31,000 basically on what we're asking for the
Oh.
library, of which, the health insurance is, it's like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,000 of that. So we have 16,000.
16 of the, what did we say we have in
So
total?
it's 6, 7, 8. So maybe part of that is because we don't.
Right, the three big pieces are
With some materials, the shipping,
Yep,
or sorry, the online
31.
services.
uh, what about 5131, which is our health and disability insurance. That's the big one. Second biggest one is 5302, which is,
04,
oops, no, sorry, 5133. Oh, no, that's down.
53.
5304, which is the books and materials, which we can justify. And the 2000 is
It's the
5312,
Blackstone.
and that's Blackstone. So the three significant pieces are just that. They're three items. What was 5101? Salaries went up 3%.
I think we're missing something.
Supplies went up by 17%, but that's just because all the cost of supplies have gone up. Library and office supplies is probably really where the toilet paper and paper towels and all that stuff should go. rather than
Yeah,
equal, but
Because we're also down 2,500. So from the unemployment. Books. And down for furniture.
when the town or the board, who actually reviews, is the board of selectmen?
yeah, the
Select
select
board.
board, yeah.
The whole town at town meeting.
Yeah,
It
they,
is the whole town to town meeting, okay. What did they see? Did they see last year's numbers to compare? Okay.
yeah, they
This
have,
is how it was last year. That's
Gotcha.
what, that's
Okay.
the actual,
Okay,
it's
got
from
it.
the meeting.
So
Okay, so they do see both the budget and the actual for the prior year. And then
this is,
Which I'm not sure how they got the actuals because the fiscal year wasn't done.
yeah, this is where, so this is the,
This is from the year before where you're seeing the actuals, not,
right, yeah.
so why is it?
That's right, because of timing. Yeah,
yep.
okay. Okay.
So why is it up 30,000, 31,000?
Because we are not, our income numbers, for want of a better term, are down because we're not putting anything, we're not budgeting to draw anything from the reserve, from the HRA reserve.
So in previous years,
But that had been on the, if we look at the, oh, no, so there was not in last year.
because if it
Nope,
says
nope.
total
I
expenses
spelled that
last
wrong.
year was 269, whatever.
Right.
And this year is 289,
Yeah, so
whatever.
we're up
Why
20,000.
is it up?
All right.
Why is it up
Why is the
30,000,
appropriation
31,000?
Why is the appropriation request up? That's a good question.
here, look on this thing.
And I'm just trying to understand
Understand
it more.
Because that
and-
figure.
Well,
is
this
pretty
number,
clear.
I just pulled it from here.
30,000.
I
Okay.
didn't do the calculations myself.
The-
I just went off of
Because
the
this-
budget that we put.
Plus this, as far as increases, is 24,000. Minus, there's a couple down too,
Right.
so minus like unemployment. And that's the main one.
But in,
And it's equipment and furniture, so it's down like 3,000 from that. So yeah, it should be like
but,
20,000.
and that's it. That's exactly it. In the 24 budget, there was 22,247 in the surplus in the 415 account.
That we
and-
gave back,
right.
so we asked for less
Right,
last
so,
year.
so maybe what we should do if
Shows it on
it
there.
shows it on here, but does not
Yeah,
show it
At
on,
the bottom of that page, it shows the original request was 22,000 less.
right.
Mhm.
Appropriate, right,
Because of
because of
that.
the unspent HRA.
Yeah.
So,
And has it been that every year? So what was true the first year or not, you know?
Yep.
Yes. The prior year, 22-23, the budget was 18,700. The actual consumed was 15,800. And the budget for 23-24 was 18,773. I'm not sure how they come up with exactly the same number again.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Yeah, that's a little weird. And 22,000 proposed. So maybe what we need to do is to take a guess at what we said we thought was gonna be left in it, if we had nothing else coming out of it other than remaining painting. What will be sitting in that,
5,000 about. Because it's about 21,000, 16,000 for paint, 5,000 difference.
okay, maybe we should put 5,000 in that line. To show that we're, going to use the reserve first, but be able to explain that, we had to use that reserve. We didn't need it for what it was intended this year, but we did need it in order to give the library a fresh look, which was desperately needed.
Yeah.
And maybe we put the remaining 5 in there.
And which line item?
Uh,
On the
at
415 line?
put it into the 415 line. And that would reduce our appropriation request by 5,000. Even if we said, it just have something in there.
Because normally what goes back,
Yeah.
how much normally goes back? What did you say?
Well, it looks like it depends on what was there. 18,000. It looked like it was 18,000 budgeted for 23-24. 22,000 was sitting there for 24-25, which would make sense if it was accumulating
Right,
and we didn't use it.
right.
And here we've used a big piece of it. So we say, okay, we've only got $5,000 left there because we consumed it.
Right,
We
and then
consumed it this
perhaps
year.
the next year.
Yep.
It will go up again.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if
So
that, they will
amount
go up again
asking will
because
go
we
down.
don't spend.
Is that leaving us
everything we budget.
anything for any safety buffer at all, though?
Only leaving us that $5,000,
5,000.
Yeah,
which, actually, it just gives us it just discloses the $5,000 safety net that we've gotten. That's all we've got.
Yep.
And, again, theoretically, it's, unspent HRA funds.
Mhm. And theoretically, what we've been told by the town is if we need something, ask them and they don't say no to us.
Yeah.
We haven't needed to ask yet.
Yeah,
But if we put the budget tight like this, then there
Yeah.
may come a point where we
Yeah.
need to ask the town. for
now,
something.
could we have asked for the painting?
They said no.
No,
Oh,
they.
they
yeah,
said no.
they said no.
Okay, they said
do
they-
exterior and,
And that's
we have
something
to
we
do
can say
this.
at the
Okay.
meeting because
Okay,
the
fine.
town chose not to pay for it themselves, then the
And if we
library.
still needed it,
paid
and this
for
is
it
the only place
out
we
of
could take it, and
the
and
library's
we were
budget.
safe. We haven't done any harm to our employees by
Yep.
doing this.
or the
Or the
town,
Or the
budget.
town,
Yeah.
right?
because essentially that's
Yeah.
what, I could get into, there's a wealth of research about every dollar that you invest in your public library, about like how
All right,
it comes back like tenfold
Mm.
into the community.
Yeah.
So, any investment that we make in the library is an investment in the town.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's I think it's at town meeting, it becomes very much like, you want this,
Yeah.
you want that. And
Absolutely.
like, yes, so we might think that that's how much money the library needs, but it's not like, it's not you, it's not me,
Yeah.
it's for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that like at town meeting day, messaging is very important. You
Yeah.
know, yes, we have spent $16,000 on
Mhm.
painting, but
It's on
like,
building maintenance that the town doesn't want to do.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have like, it hasn't been done
Yeah.
since the 90s.
Yep.
So, you know, you have,
Is that the last time it was
I
done?
have absolutely no idea when it was done.
Okay, yeah.
Nancy McLean told me that she painted some stuff herself. So,
Now, who
she was
Nancy McLean?
assistant librarian for years
Okay.
here. And you can very much tell that a non-professional did a lot
Yeah.
of the painting.
Yep.
But like, you know, they're just,
Yeah, it's updating and you building, you update,
Yeah.
and that is.
yeah. Do you want it to crumble around
Yeah.
us? No, like we
No.
want.
Oh, that's
But I am wondering,
So
you know,
do we
like
want to
with
drop
the-
this appropriation request by 5,000 because of
Yeah,
the,
I would put
surplus.
5,000 into the 415 line.
okay, so I would put that number.
hopefully that's safe to do. And
701 minus.
Yeah.
5, so that would.
I think that's safe to do. I think we're gonna have
701.
You're pretty comfortable with the painting numbers?
pretty comfortable with the painting numbers. I'm comfortable that, you know, in the next 6 months, we can
So
build up a little bit of
Okay.
that surplus money again.
We're not expecting any surprise.
I
on
do
the
think
painting.
if we could bring it down a little, because it's gone up because of this, but we have to, yeah. Show that it's going up because of that much 14, and then, you know, things haven't gone up in a long time, so
Right.
we're putting up the budget for
And
the
what
books
was
and
that?
materials, and
Down.
that's another 10, so that feels more like what it should go up
Mhm.
to me. Then we'll see, hopefully that goes through, and we've obviously put a lot of thought into it, and you have for sure.
Yes, for sure. And I think we've built ourselves a good bolster in there in case the worst happens and they say, you know, we don't want to give you that much money, then we can say, well, you know, we can come back and say, we can drop it another 5,000.
So that drops the
And-
Is that
percentage
what happened
change
before? I mean, should we do
from
more of that now, so it's not like
12.7 to
I think you need
10.65.
to, I think you need to leave the comeback room because.
Is that what
if-
normally happens at town
I
meeting?
think so.
Yeah,
I think so, because if we cut it to bare bones now and somebody comes in and says, well, you know, we can't give you all that much, we come back and say, okay, now we're starting to
yeah,
cut. Now we decide what we have to truly cut.
Right,
And I think we want to leave, not a ton. And I don't think that I don't think there's a
Yeah.
ton of, I don't think there's a lot of fluff in this budget at
No.
all.
Yeah.
Not at all. You know, we could probably squeeze by, you know,
okay, I feel
Yeah.
comfortable with that, I think it's good that we're putting the 5 in.
yeah.
For it to keep
Yeah.
it at around
Yeah.
25,000.
And it keeps it, and it keeps it
Which we
looking
could
consistent.
justify
Yeah,
that, you
and
know.
that's right, we can justify the drop from the prior year, and there's still a line item there. And I think that's good. Um,
And there's been, you know, the unemployment thing went down. You're
Yep.
always getting grants.
Yep.
I'm sure you'll get more grants. It's like what you and Kendra do. You guys excel at that.
Are you
And we
guys your
can-
own grant writers, basically? Are you-
so one of my many hats.
Yeah.
And we can work, you know, and maybe some people like maybe Laura's good at grant writing too. You know, maybe that's something, or maybe someone in the public
Yeah.
could do some of that. But we do have,
Yeah.
you know, a decent budget
Yeah.
for most of this, but
You know, this year we didn't even count in how much money we got from Kendra working with the Dover School to get that year of the book grant from Cliff. We get free books from that, but
Well,
that's not
that-
even in, you
let's
know,
put that on there, but when we go to town meeting, that
Yeah.
should be in the thing.
absolutely.
And then there's normally the head of the trustees normally writes a letter.
Right, the whole thing about it, yeah, I'm gonna. be
Okay.
working
It's,
on it.
yeah, I got,
Yes.
did you get the email from Andy that the
That, yeah,
is due January 10th.
I did not get that email.
Okay, and Jody and I worked on it together last year, so
I was gonna see if I could work on that a little later today.
okay, yeah, you know, I'm happy to help, like,
All right,
work
thank
with
you.
you on that.
yeah,
I used to write them at Petty, so
I know what, Joe's always said if we have any questions about
Yes.
previous stuff and.
And
to figure it
She
out.
did, I saw her
She's great.
yesterday and she told me to tell you, Roger, that if you have any
Absolutely.
questions
Who is
about
this?
Jody Keeler, she used to be the
Yeah.
chair of the board.
Okay, great.
She told me to let you know that
Great,
she's
thank you.
happy to give you any insight that she has.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we put in the 5,000, the appropriation request is 269,701, which drops the percentage change down to 10.65%. And that also changes the amount that the health insurance is only 37.6% of that number now. That number.
The number went down, if that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I would take the 5,000 out of,
So we're putting 5,000 into the income line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the appropriation request is going down by
15.
5,000.
So
Yeah.
our expenses are staying the same, but our
That
appropriation
would be the
request,
same.
Yeah.
our
the
appropriation
percentage.
request is going down by the 5,000.
yeah,
Which drops the percentage change to 10.65% instead of 12.7.
Good.
So we're cutting out 2% basically.
Yep.
That again seems weird to me, but I mean, the real thing is the number. So
Yep.
how much we've gone up is 24 instead of 30,000, right? How much
So that's
extra we're
increase.
asking? And
Yeah.
that's based on
Yeah.
the increase in salary, health insurance,
Yeah.
et cetera, plus a little bit of an increase in books, materials, and online.
the average price of a hardcover book has increased to like $35.
I got a software book with Israel bookstores, $20
Yeah.
for a little book. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, gone are those
That's why I
$5
wrote library.
paperbacks. Yes.
Yeah.
And if
So-
you're having trouble,
Bookstores,
yeah.
bookstores. You
Dollar
gotta drop a
amount
little money in
difference
there.
This
is
is yours.
Roger.
25,959.
55,959.
Oh.
That's better.
That's not a secure
Yeah.
location.
Okay. So I guess-
Awesome.
All right.
We gotta vote on it. right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was the next step.
I'll move to approve the
Fiscal year
appropriation
2025.
request for 25 at,
26.
for 26, sorry, at, 25,959. No, wait a minute, that's I'm sorry, 269,701.
You have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Passes unanimously.
Okay.
All right, we will call the meeting. So we gotta make a motion to close the meeting.
Yeah.
Should have closed the meeting.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, close the meeting at 10:30 a.m.